Okay, welcome to week 12, where we're going to be discussing, wait for it, professional teaching in a digital world. So we're going to talk a little bit about, first of all, what kind of our expectations, and a lot of, it's just advancing on its own. A lot of this is this week, or at least this class prep, is going to be focused on kind of how you present yourself to the rest of the world and how employers kind of look at what you're doing or what they expect. So a lot of it focuses on maybe going to an interview, those types of things. So keep that in mind as we're talking about things this week. So let's just look first at when we're teaching digital natives, what is expected. And so you can kind of look at this and how often teachers actually use online tools inside of their classroom. 14% use them every day, 31% are almost every day, 29% occasionally, 20% almost never, and 7% are never. So these are data from a Project Tomorrow, which has surveys of teachers and students. You may have actually even taken this in your class to talk about like how often you use technology, when you use it. So teachers, this is a national survey asking them what they do, how do they give their assignments to their students. So some of them have them visit classroom websites or visit different class websites that they need to look at, or some may assign videos or discussions or writing blogs. So you can see that there's a change in that. So the first one I think is from 2014, and the second one is from 2015. So you can see a change in the data, so how people are using more of them. So there are fewer educational games and online articles that were assigned. Looking at the technology tools, what kind of technology tools are people assigning? So Microsoft Word is down and Google Apps are up. I think probably the biggest explanation that you could obviously put here is that having access to things at home on Google Docs is nicer than Microsoft Word having to email yourself back and forth. You can also see the big, huge kind of explosion in Google Chrome or Google Classroom. So teachers use technology. So what do principals expect, and what are teachers actually doing, or aspiring teachers? So this means pre-service teachers such as yourself. What are your actual experiences? So principals, when you're coming in, they're looking at you, and whether it's right or wrong, they think of you as digital native, someone that really knows technology just as well as the students. So you're coming in and you're ready to hit the ground running. And which we know is not necessarily true, right? Just because you're younger doesn't mean that you're automatically better at technology, but that is an expectation that's out there. So figuring out, and also one of the other things that the expectation that's out there is just because you know how to use it for yourself, also knowing that you know how to use it with your students. So really be thinking all the time about how are you using it, or what are the different ways in which you're using it, and how might that apply to your students. So like the ability to create and use video, podcasts, and other media. So a lot of principals expect you to do this. You can all do this already, so I'm not worried about that. That's not a problem. Identifying quality digital content to use in class. So again, we use the 4E's checklist a lot to identify our different areas. So like I said, you are going to be very well prepared after W200. Just keeping yourself up to date is important, and keeping yourself within practice. So it's important for you to do that throughout the rest of your pre-service education program. Again, the TTL will always be open for you. I will always be here too if you also need any questions, if you have any questions after you kind of leave W200. So let's talk about your digital identity. And I don't like to scare people. I mean, there are a lot of different things out there about how a teacher posted something online and they ended up getting fired. I think all of you are smart enough to know when it comes to things that you post online, making sure that it is private and protected, and also keeping in mind who's able to see all the things that you post. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of the things that you post that are private are completely okay. I've even heard of, in some interviews, superintendents have gotten a little bit nervous about the technology that you use or your online profile, hiring teachers that maybe have like a sketchy online profile. So sometimes they will ask teachers to log into their Facebook page and turn the laptop around so that they can kind of explore it. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily legal, but some people do ask the illegal questions in interviews, so just being cognizant of that is important. However, they will definitely search you online before going in with a candidate. So I just recently have been talking, I work with an elementary school principal here in town in Bloomington, and he said whenever they hire someone, they definitely search for them on Facebook, do various searches of them to see what kind of information is out there. And one of their most recent search committees, they were Googling someone that had done some substitute teaching in their class and had friended a teacher or a friend of a friend or however that works. And they were able to see some information that, was talking about drinking or going out to the bar or whatever else like that. And so they didn't feel comfortable hiring that particular person. So you just want to be careful about what you are putting online because people are looking at that and thinking about it as controlling your digital identity. But you don't want to just worry about protecting everything. You also want to think about making things public, right? So that when somebody searches you, the first thing that they find isn't just that, you ran track in high school. Hopefully it says, here, look at all these great things I did in W200, or look at all these great things that I did, with my students in my field placement. So there are a lot of great things that you can control this digital footprint by putting things out there about yourself that are really fantastic. Students, parents, and other teachers may also go online to find out more about you. I'm sure that you've probably Googled a teacher at some point in your career I don't know if you want to know more about them or just because you were bored. So this definitely happens in figuring out what people are saying about you. So some questions to consider whenever you're doing anything with, online accounts. So is a private account really private? Meaning all of the information on there, like, do you maintain that? Is that yours? And Facebook, I think it still is the case that Facebook pictures are actually not your own. When you upload them, they actually become Facebook's photos. Do posts really stay on the internet forever? Actually, yes, they do. You can actually do a think back. Let me see if I can actually go to it. It's called the Wayback Machine. And it'll show you on a particular day what did it look like. So let's see, we can go to yahoo.com. Let's browse the history of Yahoo. It's taking a little bit too long to do that. So here it goes. All right, so you can see all the things, different Yahoo accounts, so we can go all the way back to 1996. Let's look at, here, it even has snapshots of different times. So 1996, let's look at October 17th, what was happening. So this is what it looked like in 1996. Obviously not super flashy. This is surprising. It's yahoo.com, and this is what it looked like. So anyways, yes, it does stay online. Is that accessible to everybody? No, not necessarily. That's all stored on a government facility where they're taking all of those things into account. Do colleges and jobs really look at your social media history? Absolutely, and I'm going to show you some information here in just a minute. What should or should not be put on social media? My usual suggestion is that don't put anything up there that you wouldn't want your grandmother to see or your grandfather to see. Putting up pictures of yourself completely drunk at some place, who really needs to see that anyways? Thinking about who can also see your social media and when you should use social media. So let's talk a little bit about the role of social media in pre-employment and how people use it for candidate screening. So people do use this in order to screen their candidates, as shown here. 2 in 5 employers actually use it to do that. They use it to evaluate candidates' professionalism in terms of social contact. And also to evaluate how the candidate will fit into the company culture. Like, do you enjoy the same things, or are you, a strong component of maybe you're a strong gun rights advocate. Maybe that wouldn't work so well in particular circles. Also to learn more about the candidate's qualifications. So what have they been doing? What actually happens on social media? Sometimes, depending on what, people may be a little bit more clear on what they've done or post badges or different sorts of things that they've been able to accomplish. So in some employers have said that when they did find information online that helped them to actually not hire that particular candidate. And this can range from the person posted inappropriate content or talking about drinking or using drugs or bad mouthing their, complaining about their previous employer, just poor communication skills in general. Maybe their spelling and grammar uses a lot more of the abbreviations and IDK and things like that. Discriminatory comments. So if you have anything up there talking about, the different race riots or things like that, that might come off really poorly. Or even some of them who are lying about their qualifications on their resume, but then on their social media found out differently. So, but some also have said that they found reasons to hire a candidate from their social media profile. So it can also be a positive thing. So using Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn to promote yourself. So you're already starting to do that with your Twitter account and with your classroom webpage and your ePortfolio in W200. And so the reasons that you can use social media, look at all of these different reasons that encourage people to hire a candidate. They say they're presenting a very professional image, or they've got really great personality, a wide range of interests, or great creativity, or even positive references from others. That would probably mostly come from like LinkedIn, where they're recommending each other. And then the most used social network sites, so 76% of employers said that they went to Facebook to actually try and screen candidates to see what was going on with them, as well as 53% from Twitter and then 48% from LinkedIn. So what should you put on social media? Nothing that other people do not need to see for any reason. So think about, again, when you're posting this, would you be embarrassed if your mother or grandmother or whoever saw that particular picture or saw that particular post? And then think about what's serving you well and what your social image is. So if you do post, the really hot, sexy photos of yourself, is that really serving you well? What kind of attention are you trying to get from that? And think about what you're okay with principals or students or parents being able to see. What's okay for them to see, and what would you rather keep private for you? So this week, what we're going to ask you to do is you're actually going to be reflecting on a specific Twitter hashtag. So we're going to ask you to go online and look for different hashtags. There are some really great ones that are associated with education, educational tweets and Twitter chats. A lot of educators kind of have taken to Twitter as a way to get really fast, short bursts of professional development and ideas. And you can build your own community of people that you admire or think like you, or think of new creative ways that maybe you didn't think out before. So like the example included here is if you do hashtag DigCit, then that actually finds different things about how you can teach digital citizenship or examples of students actually doing digital citizenship. So you can find different ideas and different resources that way. Okay, so go ahead and complete the questions for Class Prep 12, and we look forward to seeing you in class next